Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a look at one of the biggest, most iconic sitcoms ever made, but we're going to view it through a totally different lens. We're talking about the absolute cultural juggernaut that is Friends. Look, you know the faces, you know the jokes, but get ready for a massive paradigm shift. Because today, we're exploring the hidden mechanics of the show and we're going to reframe everything you thought you knew about how its story was actually told. So think about this for a second. What if the real main character of Friends wasn't a person at all? No, seriously. Forget Ross and Rachel's romance for a minute. Put Monica and Chandler's marriage on hold and just pause Joey's endless one-liners. What if the true star of the show was just sitting quietly in the background the entire time? Okay, let's dive into this. The radical hypothesis here is that this coffee shop quietly connected the entire story for 10 whole seasons. Just think about it. Over a decade, characters came and went, right? Relationships shifted, jobs changed, apartments were swapped left and right. But Central Perk, that was the one constant. It witnessed every single breakup, reunion, laugh, and life-changing decision. Honestly, without it, the show wouldn't even feel like Friends. Section 1. The Gathering Force. Let's look at how this setting functions mechanically in the script. It isn't just a place where they happen to grab coffee. It actively acts as the gravitational pull for the entire plot. Imagine watching the series strictly from the coffee shop's perspective. Very first episode, Rachel leaves her fiancé at the altar. Does she run to her apartment? Nope. To work? No way. She rushes straight to Central Park, literally wearing a wedding dress. And from that exact moment, bam, 6 separate lives merge into one cohesive story. It's where Ross confesses his feelings, where Phoebe performs her memorable, crazy songs on that small stage, and where Monica basically brings everyone together. The sheer volume of the narrative driven by this one specific location is absolutely staggering. And this brilliantly illustrates our point. If the apartments are their homes, Central Park is their shared living room. You know, most TV shows just use locations as static backgrounds, right? Just a place for actors to stand while they say their lines. Not Friends. Friends uses Central Park like a giant magnet. Whenever the characters drift apart, the coffee shop actively pulls them back together. Even when they're fighting, they almost always end up right back there. It's almost like the room itself has its own gravity. Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 2, the constant anchor. To really see this constant anchor, we've got to contrast the chaotic evolution of the people with the complete stasis of their environment. Over a decade, every single main character changes dramatically. Rachel goes from a sheltered runaway bride to a highly successful fashion executive. Monica grows from a somewhat insecure chef into a super confident wife and mother. Chandler, he completely overcomes those deep-seated commitment fears. You've got Ross with his countless ups and downs, Joey maturing, Phoebe building a stable future for herself. It is a decade of absolute chaotic human growth and change. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer contrast. On one side, you have all that dramatic evolution and chaos. But on the other side, Central Perk, it barely changes at all. The famous orange couch remains, the coffee keeps flowing, Gunther is always there, steadily behind the counter. The atmosphere remains incredibly, wonderfully familiar. And that is exactly what great main characters do in storytelling. They provide much-needed stability while the world around them goes crazy. It serves as the anchor that keeps viewers emotionally grounded through all the wild character drama. Section 3. The Reset Loop. Let's pivot from character development to the hidden structural mechanics of the scriptwriters. This reset loop is the secret engine of the show's pacing. So how does this loop actually function episode to episode? Well, step 1, life becomes chaotic elsewhere, up in the apartments, at restaurants, or in their offices. Step 2, the characters inevitably return to Central Perk. And step 3, normalcy is formally restored. It functions almost like a save point in a video game, a literal reset point in the story. In storytelling, this specific mechanic creates continuity, comfort, and most importantly, familiarity for the audience. You aren't just visiting 6 characters every week. You are returning to a place that feels exactly like home. Think about it. Many of the show's biggest, most explosive emotional scenes happen out in the world. But where do they go afterward? To process it all. They return to the anchor. After heartbreak, they go there. After major life celebrations, they go there. After crushing failures or massive successes, they end up right back at Central Park. It is the designated processing room for literally every extreme human emotion they experience. Section 4. A universal symbol. Let's explore why this matters. Because we're shifting this explainer from interesting television trivia to deeper human psychology. Why does this specific dynamic resonate so powerfully decades later? So, the crucial point is that Friends isn't actually about extraordinary events. It's about ordinary people sharing everyday moments. Just having coffee, talking about work, discussing relationships, complaining about life, celebrating the small victories. Those moments don't happen during high-stakes dramatic adventures. They happen around tables, sitting on couches, in slow, relaxed conversations. Central Park provides the perfect, consistent stage for those moments to exist. Without it, the whole series would entirely lose its heartbeat. This cultural icon tapped into something deeply human. Central Perk represents a universal desire. It's a place where friends are always welcome, a place where someone is always waiting for you, a place where life actively slows down long enough for meaningful conversations to actually happen. That's why people feel so incredibly nostalgic when they see those giant windows or the little stage where Phoebe played. The setting itself became just as memorable as the people inside it, simply because it represented what every viewer secretly wants in their own life. A symbol of friendship, belonging, and consistency in an unpredictable world. It's not just a coffee shop. So the next time you think about this show, try looking beyond those six faces. Watch the stories through the lens of Central Perk. Notice how every journey seems to begin, end, or just pass right through those familiar doors. You might just realize that the true main character was never the people sitting on the couch. It was the couch's home. Which leaves us with this final thought. Does every unforgettable story need a place that feels impossible to leave? Think about your own favorite stories, or even your own life. We focus so much on the people, but maybe it's the anchor, the gathering force, the reset loop that makes those connections possible in the first place. That is exactly what made Central Perk unforgettable. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking questions, keep looking at the background, and I'll catch you next time.